Back in the saddle, boys. Back for another episode of the Move Well podcast. This is episode number 24. Isn't that pretty crazy? We've rebranded this thing 1,500 times, and we've got to like 20 episodes each time.
10,000th podcast.
Switch the name up.
So really, it's like our 1,000th episode. As many times we've switched. But no, since we rebranded and settled on the Move Well podcast for the second time, this is our 24th episode. So pretty cool to see that we've kept it consistent and we're able to just keep putting these things out and hopefully providing some insight and continuing to grow the content that we put out for everybody. So today, like I said last week, we're kind of keeping the trend of sleep. So I've said this before, but just in case it's your first time listening, the way we structure our podcasts, for the most part, now there will be some weeks where we might have guests on, or we might do race recaps. If we ever do an athletic event, then we'll have some one-off episodes that kind of cover that. If Kevin or Wade or myself or anybody else on the Move Well team does a race or an event, obviously we love to brag on them, let them share their experience. And I think you all just like to hear that. I looked at some of the analytics of our episodes, and some of our better episodes were race recaps or talking about athletic events. But the way we structure the podcast now is that we kind of have a theme for the month, and then we break that month down into weekly topics around whatever that content is. And that content is kind of similar to what we gear towards our clients. So it just kind of makes it a one-stop shop for us. Our minds are focused on one thing for the month, and we can kind of use different avenues to put info and resources out there. So like I mentioned, this month is sleep. And we always have a great reference point when we have these conversations, because our product manager, Stephanie Anklin, who's also a registered dietitian, writes all of our blogs. And she's so knowledgeable, and she loves sleep. She nerds out over sleep. Yeah. So the blogs this month have been really, really cool and really helpful too. So that's what we referencing today. Just again, kind of talking about sleep hygiene, and not necessarily taking a shower before you go to bed, Wade. You need to take a shower before you go to bed. If you didn't know that.
No.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I've
good,
never
man.
done that before in my life.
Okay. Yeah. Well, see, you already learned something today.
That's good.
Yeah.
All
so
right,
we're good. On the right track.
Just end podcasts. That's all you need to know. Sleep hygiene.
Yeah.
Right?
Sleep hygiene. But sleep hygiene is more so like your environment that you put yourself in, or the routine that you create for yourself. And obviously this isn't going to happen every single night, especially if you travel a lot or if you have kids. But I think just having a consistent theme in your sleep hygiene is helpful. And I know last week's episode, we talked about kind of why sleep is one of the key elements of our overall health. And this week, Stephanie kind of talked about how it's one of the foundations of good health overall, and how it impacts our performance just on a regular day-to-day basis. Sleep is whenever our body repairs itself. It's how we process memories, and it resets our energy. And without having proper sleep or quality sleep, our focus, our mood, and our immune system takes a big hit from that. So that's kind of where I want to start at. And it kind of leaks from last week into this week about this first question, like the foundation of good health. But we'll start with energy levels and just like your immune function. Like, how have you all felt the impact of that? Like getting sick easier, just having not great energy. Like, how do you all feel the effects of that throughout your day when you lack sleep?
Before we get into that, Logan, I just want to think about how cool sleep is. Like, just think of it's a normal thing that we do. We sleep. Most living creature sleeps. Like, how amazing that is. Mm-hmm. Like, that we can literally shut our brains off and go to literal recharge mode, and our body grows, heals. We come up with complex solutions to complex problems sometimes in our sleep. Like, all the magical stuff that's happening. I mean, it really is amazing. I mean, it's insane. And I think we just take that for granted of wow, I can shut my brain off and go to bed, rest, and come back literally a changed person, like a new person. I mean, that's amazing. So I think first it's important to focus on that, like just what sleep is, and that it's this amazing gift that God has given to us. And it's something that helps us be refreshed, restored, renewed, the best version of ourselves. And it doesn't cost any money, like it's not like something we have to go out and pay or do or some special thing. It's probably one of the most transformational things we can do for our health. and it's just a natural occurrence in nature. Like it's just that, isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when you really think about what sleep actually is.
And I feel like in a day and age where everybody's looking for all these hacks and how to perform better and how to move better and how to optimize their life, sleep is the one easy thing they can probably be doing that they're overlooking.
Yeah.
And just being able to get into deep sleep, that, like Kevin said, that's where your body recovers. That's where you restore yourself. Your body literally physically heals itself of ailments during that deep sleep. And a lot of people miss out on it. So yeah, it's just a cool thing that we're able to do.
Mm-hmm.
Specific question Logan was asking was more being drained.
Like
physically, how do we feel?
Yeah,
right?
like how has your experience with lack of sleep or a stretch of sleep?
I feel like we hit on
you
that
got
pretty good
sick?
last week.
Yeah.
You can reference Move Well podcast number 23 if you want to listen to that. But like I said, I think I'm very susceptible to like upper respiratory issues whenever I'm not getting good quality sleep, and we just feel sluggish and terrible to start the day out. So usually when I'm feeling bad and sluggish like that, I got to do something physically and mentally to get a couple wins just to hopefully turn the day around a little bit more. And we referenced that in the last podcast. So for me, it's either a quick checklist to knock something out to feel like, man, I've accomplished that. I'm feeling a little bit better, even though I'm feeling pretty bad. Or sometimes I may even try to throw in a little nap during lunch if I got time, honestly. Like if I can get a quick 10, 15-minute power nap, if I have time, just to help recharge for that day if I'm not feeling good enough. From that
The point
too.
is, it affects you.
Oh,
right?
big time.
And like
yeah.
it affects me physically. I think it affects everybody. I think there's a lot of people that are just chronically running on a lack of
Sleep
sleep
deprived all the time.
They
Yeah.
stimulate themselves with caffeine and things like that.
Mhm.
And they think that's normal. And then also, not only physically, we're probably getting that more the mental effects. I mean, I really feel it mentally, probably more so for me than even physically. But I think most people in our society, and like what you were alluding to earlier, Wade, is like we glorify not the hustle culture and not sleeping. And I've definitely become a victim of that. But there's really nothing awesome about that. We're really just taking years off our life, literally, taking years off our life by doing that. And then just artificially giving ourselves energy by drinking tons of coffee or energy drinks or whatever your choice is. And then we have trouble going down at night. And it's just this cycle and this pattern.
Yeah.
We're
Over
always
and
in this
over.
fight or flight mode. We referenced in the last podcast too. I put a survey out on LinkedIn, and most people, about half of the people, it was about 50-50. No one said they sleep 8 or more hours per night, but 50% said they're between 4 to 6 hours. So like 4 hours of sleep is like going to bed at 1 a.m., waking up at 5 a.m. Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
Can you imagine function? Even if I went to bed at 1 a.m., got up at 7, I mean, functioning on that every single day, I don't know how people do it.
Yeah.
And that's why we have a lot of coffee shops, probably, right?
That's why they're all successful. That's why they all do so well. No, I agree. And I think one thing to note is like we'll get into some of we say like sleep is a foundational piece of your health, but like how can you if you say you don't sleep well, you don't do all the things you need to do to have proper sleep hygiene. Well, we'll get through some of the points that can hopefully help you improve that. And not saying we do any of these things perfect by any means, but these are just actual resources that we can learn from as well. And hopefully you can kind of take and translate to your sleep routine, even if it's just one of these things. Like I know for me, cutting caffeine off a lot earlier really helps me sleep at night. So that's something that I've started to do. A lot of times I would crack an energy drink at like 4 o'clock and then just go throughout the day if we had something planned in the evening. And I found like that's not going to work for me anymore. But before we get to that, something I want to talk about that was kind of in this opening statement too, and you kind of alluded to it, was sleep is whenever we all the body repairs itself, but it's whenever we process memories, which is a really cool aspect of sleep too. And I found that when I'm in a good sleep routine, or even if I just had a pretty chill day and I was able to lay down at a decent time and slept throughout the night, I wake up and the difference in the types of dreams that you have or the things you think about when you go to sleep, when you're laying down to go to sleep, impacts your dreams like tremendously. If I've had a really sporadic day and a busy day, or I was on my phone a lot before going to bed, or I got in a hole of
Survivor.
something on TikTok, something that was like, even if it's like crime, something, whatever, like you can really feel that in your dreams. But do you have anything to nerd out about processing memories while you're asleep?
I think for me, one of the practices that I've started developing, I'm again not consistent on any of this stuff by any means, but try to, is just really doing a nightly examine, and that's a spiritual practice that's been around for thousands of years. But how much that helps me rest, how much that helps me just improves my quality of sleep and just feel at peace. But a nightly examine is basically, analyzing, and just quickly analyzing your day. Where did I fail and where did I succeed? How can I succeed tomorrow, and what should I avoid? And what's my goal tomorrow to be? Basically, is what a nightly examine is. And so even if you remove the spiritual component, it still applies to everybody, even if you're not a religious person or whatever. Examining your day and thinking about where you succeeded, where you failed, and what you can do tomorrow to be successful is a really important and powerful tool. And I think, again, it kind of brings those things up that really do matter. And then it gives you reflection time, and then you kind of carry that into sleep. And a lot of times I found I wake up the next morning feeling a lot more at peace, a lot more rested, and a lot more assurance of what I need to do that next day. It just kind of sets the tone for the next day the night before.
I think by doing that too, it probably forces us to just be present with what we need to focus on. Probably helps with procrastination too. Like if you know there's something on your to-do list or in the back of your mind that is somewhat pressing or needs to be taken care of, and you just forget it, chances are you're going to do it again the next day and the next day and the next day. Our man Dustin Thornton, who comes to our athletic clubs, commented he sleeps about 7 hours a night on average. Pretty solid, man.
Pretty solid.
A lot of really big health improvements, and that's a big part of it, right? He's exercising a lot. I've seen Dustin, working out at our office. I've seen him out at the park running. And so he's improving his health. He's also challenging himself physically, and he's giving himself time to rest and repair. And that's why he's having those improvements.
Yeah.
So awesome. Thanks for your comment, Dustin.
Yeah, it's cool. Goes a long way, man, getting some good sleep. So just to kind of go back, what sleep hygiene really is, or what it means in simple terms, it's basically just having an environment that works for you when you go to bed, or having a routine that works for you when you go to bed. Obviously, that looks different for everybody. Like some people, maybe they just read a book for 30 minutes, kind of wind down, then lay down, whether they do that out in a living room area in their house, or laying down in bed. Some people drink tea before they go to bed, whatever it is. So I think just being able to find something, or like a routine or something that works well before you go to bed. And it doesn't have to be like this crazy routine that has 8 steps or whatever, because chances are that's not going to be sustainable. And a lot of those steps, you're probably going to be spending some money on it, which also is not ideal. I know what Wade had kind of said earlier, like people, like there's this fad of like trying to optimize anything you can in your life, when really it could just be buy a $2 pack of green tea or some type of tea and drink it before you go to bed.
Take the TV out of your room.
Or take the TV out of your room. Quit scrolling on your phone. There's options.
Move
there's
your
things
kids out of your bed.
No, that could go a long way too, Wade. But yeah, and I kind of want to go through and give some examples if you guys have found something that works well for you. Like I know I have a couple, and one for me was just like putting my phone away. Like I used to sleep with my phone under my pillow every single night, and putting it on bedside table, putting it in our bathroom, somewhere away from me. It's kind of a dual win, because one, I'm less likely to pick it up and scroll on it or scroll longer. And then two, if I have an alarm set to get up and go work out or do something, then I'm going to have to get up, because I have to get up, go get my phone. It's going to force you to do that. So that's one thing for me. I don't really leverage much else other than that, honestly.
I'm going to say what doesn't work for us instead of what
does.
That's
a good idea. Yeah.
So what doesn't work for you to get a good night's sleep? Mine was, me and Janae have never had a TV in our room. So like we've been very intentional about not having that. When I was in high school through college, early adult life, I always had a TV in my room. I was always watching a movie as I fell asleep. Yeah. I was like, nope, that makes me fall asleep. And that's something like comforting. I guess I fell into that trap. But reality, I probably never got any good quality sleep at all.
Or when you wake up in the middle of the night and the TV's still on, you're like, what is going on?
I turn on semi-pro for the 40th time, So yeah, it's just that did not work for us. Having your phone close to you and just like going into a random scroll on something that has nothing to do with you at all definitely doesn't work. And especially for us, having the room hot does not work. I cannot sleep if it's hot at all. And like,
I'm with you.
I mean, I think we touched on that last week, is having a cool, like a very cool room actually helps elicit like deep sleep, right? Where if it's hot, you're not going to get as good of quality of sleep. So I think those are 3 big things that we try to shoot for, like to actually help us do that.
Yeah. Mine are almost identical to that, honestly. What about you, Kevin?
For me, having a dark room is important too. I like if there's any light on, I kind of know. I don't know. It's weird, and I don't sleep as good. That really helps. What doesn't work for me, I think, again, I think the phone stuff. I mean, I've talked a million times on here about how I limited access on my phone and the internet and stuff like that. But one of the things I did keep was my email on there, and so I had the ability to check email, and it is very convenient. And I know it's annoying for you all when I don't have email on my phone if we're out and about and I'm like calling Wade to respond to somebody.
Hey, Wade, do you mind to check this email for me real quick? Something came through.
But what would happen was I would wake up, or as I was going to bed, I'd check my email. I'd see that, and then my mind would start racing about something with work, or I'd start stressing about something, and it just wasn't healthy for me, you know. And I don't have access to email on my phone now, and that's really helped. And so I typically try not to look at my email until I get ready for work I'm going, I'm working, because for me, I'm constantly thinking about work, and so I've got to create some space to where I'm not, and that definitely helps my sleep if I just kind of able to block that out a bit.
Yeah, mine are pretty similar to you, Wade. Like even Emily and I both, and it was like 80% me. Before we had Leah, we always had the TV on in our room as well, and we wouldn't even care what show it was. But there were, every now and then it's like a funny part of the show, and maybe even if you've seen it before, like The Office was ours. So like there's a part where that scene is funny. So I'm sitting up in bed, and I'm like watching it, and I'm like, I need to go to sleep. And then I remember when our daughter was born, when she was like an infant, she slept in our room for the first couple of months. Well, a long time after that, but especially the first couple of months. Yeah, Emily was like, we have to turn the TV off. I was like, it'll be fine. She was like, no, we have to turn the TV off. And I remember thinking like, I'm not going to get good sleep. And then our daughter's been in her own room for months now, and we still don't sleep with the TV on. Like it's in our room, but I can't tell you the last time we've turned it on. And we're like, we just need to get rid of this thing. And we never use it. And honestly, that has gone a long, long way for sleep for us. Same thing. We have all the lights off. And then we keep our room pretty cool too, and we have a fan on. So it's like it is nice to have like a little bit of like a sound machine vibe. So ours is a fan, but that went a long way for me. And then I don't have any email anything on my phone too, because I'm really bad. Like if I see it in the moment, if I see it for any work email things, like I have like a business one that is very little utilized. But because if I see it like in that moment, I have to take care of it. Otherwise, I feel like I'm going to forget about it. So I don't have Slack on my phone. I don't have email on my phone.
Really?
So, I don't have any. No, I haven't had it on my phone for probably 2 years.
Really?
Right after I started. Yeah.
Piggybacking off of that, something I'm not wearing today is my watch.
Wow. Okay.
Which is great to track sleep. But what also do you get through your watches? What are they trying to do with the watches?
Get you to look at it.
Get you to look at your watch, which then takes you to your phone.
Turn your notifications off, man.
Not
I have
having that
mine
daggone
set
watch
off.
on has been a blessing, because like I've tried to use it as like a sleep tool, like to track recovery and all this stuff, which honestly I probably got a little too far down that rabbit hole and didn't help me at all, honestly, because I wasn't using the metrics to actually gauge it all. But not having it's been 2-3 days now that I haven't worn it at all, so I'm not getting like phone notifications throughout the day too. So I'm more present at home with my kids. Driving, not nearly as distracted, because it's not like it buzzes on my watch and then I'm kind of looking at my phone while I'm driving too. Like everything is just face down on my phone while I'm doing this, and I'm just going. But I feel like the watch honestly is a pretty big distraction. You may not even realize in the room too. Like when you're trying to
sleep with one on, like I just can't sleep with one on anyways.
I sleep with mine on, but there's a setting on Garmin where you can silence all notifications from certain times. So mine turns off at 10 o'clock each night, and then they come back on at 6 a.m. Or you have the option to turn it on at 6. So you have to like manually, like it'll come up on your screen and say like swipe up to like enable notifications. So I turn that feature on, because I used to be really bad. I'd be asleep and it'd be like, zzz, and I would look at it, and then the only notifications that come through my watch are texts and phone calls. So, but that's when I used to be so bad about it, especially when I had an Apple Watch. When you're talking to somebody and they get a notification, and it's like, if some people just like, you might glance at it and then they go back to talking to you. But when you're talking to somebody and they get a notification and they're like this, like fully reading whatever just came up on their watch, I'm like, you can check and make sure it's not important, or if it's like a partner or something, then you might need to check your phone. But when they like look at it and stare at it while you're trying to talk to them, I'm like, oh my gosh, it drives me crazy. But I utilize that feature on Garmin where you turn off notifications for like a window of time. And that's been helpful. But I know a lot of people that aren't big on sleeping on watches too, can get kind of uncomfortable. But next up, talking about consistency with sleep and how it affects our body's rhythm. this might be something you would enjoy talking about, Wade. Basically, it talks about training our internal clock. What, you don't think?
What's that mean, man?
You don't think you
Is
can talk
this
about
something
that?
nerdy that you think?
Yeah,
I would
you
like?
nerd
My
out about
goodness.
these things.
I don't know what kind
that's
of
what I'm
shade you're
alluding
trying
to.
throw
When
at
I
me.
heard that, I thought that's probably a Wade thing.
That's
Yeah,
probably a
okay,
Wade
thank
thing,
you,
yeah.
Kevin. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm with you, Logan.
Just talking about like training your internal clock, like whenever you do it over time. So then naturally over time, around 8:30, 9 o'clock, your body starts to wind down, and you can feel yourself getting more tired, more relaxed. And then same thing with waking up, and then that most of the time, like 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, whenever it is, like your body is eventually going to start winding down naturally, and then sleep is going to feel, lack of better words, like more effortless. So talk about that if you have any insight on it. Like, is there any research you've seen on it, or just?
No, I have no insight. I don't know why y'all are painting me out to be this person.
Whatever.
No, I mean,
Go ahead.
it's huge for your circadian rhythm, right? Like to be able to naturally just like fall asleep the same time every night and wake up the same time every day. That's whenever you want to kind of get like your body in that rhythm. I feel like, and I've seen it in research too. It's like your body has an ability to do that. I mean, back probably 200-300 years ago, probably even more soon than that, 100 years ago, nobody had alarm clocks. Nobody had anything to wake them up in the morning, right? So you went to sleep when the sun went down, and you woke up when the sun came up. That's just part of it, right? And it's just healthy for you. But now we just have all these distractions that just keep us up, lights that keep the house bright, and it just get your brain and your body out of whack of like its natural rhythm that it should be in.
It's amazing. We go camp every year.
Yeah.
And we used to camp for a week. We camp a lot, but like we go every year for a week long camp out. And we used to have a tent. So I would stay in a tent. And I know a lot of people say, you don't sleep well in a tent and stuff like that. And typically those first couple nights, it's not as comfortable as your own bed, obviously. By the third, fourth night, though, my sleep is unbelievable. And I'm sleeping probably the same duration I do at home, but I feel completely different when I wake up. I mean, I feel so rested and ready to do stuff. And you start getting in this natural rhythm. It's really interesting. And I think anybody that camps a lot can kind of relate to that. You just start getting in this natural rhythm. And there's nothing hippie or weird about that. I mean, we were made to be outside. I mean, that's just the way it is. Really, our last couple 100 years, our society has just changed so much. Electricity and all these conveniences and stuff like that. But we're not really made to be that way. I always use the analogy about when your dog does something, everybody says, well, that's their natural instinct. Well, we have natural instincts too, right? And ours is to go to bed with the sun setting and to rise with it coming up. I mean, it's just, you feel better. You do. Yeah.
Do you all travel with the sound machine when you're sleeping in tents, or do you just let nature sound machine take over and just listen to the crickets?
We have sound machines just because there's also like car
other outdoor noise.
People like laughing around a campfire. I would probably still sleep if my kids have trouble.
We had to use one the last time we went camping because apparently the neighbors to us were karaoke Dolly Parton at 12 a.m. in the morning. And I was like, I'm not really sleeping at 9 to 5 right now. Having somebody sing that. So.
Dolly's not quite a Dolly cover song probably isn't the best soothing sound. No, but I think finding like some type of consistent routine goes a long way. And honestly, like now that Leah is a little bit older and we generally lay her down within the same hour time frame every night, and especially Monday to Friday, it has kind of put us in a sleep routine that's much better too, because when we put Leah down usually it's between really like 8:15 and 9 o'clock every single night, we know that like within the next hour after laying her down, or hour and a half at most, we're going to sleep too. And then we're waking up at 6:30 most days. So I mean, right there, we're getting almost 8 hours of sleep every night if we follow that. So really, in turn, like giving our child a routine is giving us a routine of sleep as well. Have you guys benefited from that at all? With 4 kids
we're
too?
Still a little, our kids sleep routines all over the place still. So I don't know if we've quite gotten there, but
what's different with just one? But
I was going to mention there's a local runner that you guys all know here in Bowling Green, but I was talking to him, and he just is a person that just has really good balance. I can just tell that just from the outside looking in. You can just see it, and he's very healthy. He's a really fast runner. And I asked him about, because he runs every day at 5:45 every single day.
I feel like we know exactly who you're talking
exactly
about.
What I'm talking about, probably. But I asked him. He said, "Well, I go to bed every night. He doesn't use an alarm at all. He goes to bed. He'll just go to bed when he's ready to go to bed. He said typically he'll just fall asleep, and he wakes up at the same time every day, no alarm, because that's the epitome of just getting in this good routine and cycle. And he just has great balance. I don't know. You can just see it even by the way he runs. He has you just tell. But it's because he's got this really good rhythm going. You know,
That's awesome. Yeah.
Sounds like he's from Breckenridge County.
Yeah, I feel
to
like he's
me.
probably.
Not from
Is
Breckenridge.
he in the room
No,
with
he
us?
is, actually.
Is he in the room with us?
He is actually from Breckenridge County, but it's not Waverly.
No, it's not me. No, definitely not me.
Yeah. Don't get
Well,
it twisted, y'all.
I feel like ours is the same with kids. It's kind of got us out of a routine, but it's forced us to go to bed when they go to bed.
Yeah.
That's the only positive. But then I feel like there's other things that we're not getting done in the house, like quick cleanup that could mentally help us next morning, or doing the dishes, or putting some laundry away, because it kind of forces you to go to sleep when the kids do. So some positive and negatives to it. Positive is we're getting more sleep.
Yeah, honestly, I think I told Emily that. I'm like, when Leah was first born, maybe not, but now that she's sleeping in her own room, and for the most part, like a 70% consistency sleep schedule, I'm like, we sleep a lot more because of that, I feel. So yeah, I think, having kids has some perks when it comes to sleep eventually. But going forward, this is something that I struggled with, like when I was in college, is reserving your bed for like bedtime only and not napping elsewhere. I think goes a long way. Don't you agree, Wade?
Well, definitely in school. I mean, you're in a dorm room.
Yeah.
It's like you're literally either like studying, sleeping, eating. You literally do everything in your daggone bedroom.
Yeah, I think it goes. Sorry, guys. These comments on the YouTube live stream. Somebody. We got a spam account in here commenting some silly things. So we're trying to focus up here, okay? We're trying to talk about sleep hygiene. But no, I think like only using your bed for bedtime and like not going to nap there during the day goes a long way. So kind of reserving that, like your sleeping space for your sleeping space only, and not napping in there. If you're going to nap throughout the day, nap on the couch or somewhere else. But moving right along, Wade, talking about caffeine.
Have you had any today, Logan?
I have had caffeine, but
You've
it was
had
at
caffeine?
like 9:30 this morning.
Good.
And that'll be my only caffeine source for the day. I think this follows pretty steady to like just the general recommendation that you can find about anywhere is like 6 hours before you go to bed. So if you go to bed at midnight, you don't want to have any caffeine before 6 o'clock. Hopefully you're going to sleep before midnight if you work a normal.
Usually I
normal
see a
time
general
job.
rule of thumb. It's like 1 p.m. Try to cut off all caffeine.
Yeah, usually after lunchtime, or if I'm going to have any caffeine, like at the end of the day, it's like right after lunch if you want anything. But I mean, that goes a long way too, because it's still going to be kind of buzzing around in your system. I can really feel it and can see it like on my watch too, like on my heart rate. I'll be sitting there, like if I had caffeine at like 2 or 3 o'clock and then it's 8:30, 9 o'clock, we're starting to wind down. I can feel that my system is like still kind of charged up.
Heart
and
rate at
winding
180,
down.
you can still
Yeah, and
feel
I'm
it,
looking and my heart rate's like 55 because I'm so fit. It's usually at like 36.
Yeah.
No, but it's usually it's like gosh, why is my heart rate 78 or
That's my
85
heart rate at
right now?
44. Goodness gracious.
Gosh, I'm usually sitting so low.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think that's just a good rule of thumb to have too.
Wade, what would you say to people? My wife is one of these that she loves caffeine and she takes in a lot of caffeine, but she would say it doesn't affect me. I can drink a Coke or drink coffee.
I would challenge her to do a caffeine fast for 30 days to see how it
30
affects her
days.
overall.
Yeah. Well, she starts complaining about headaches.
Drink more water.
Yeah. I mean, she does sleep good.
Yeah.
I think. But I mean, I would assume that would affect your quality of sleep.
Yeah, and she's
right?
probably not
You're
getting
getting
as deep of sleep.
Right.
She's not getting the REM sleep or rapid eye movement or non-rapid eye. The kind of sleep is broken up into 2 phases. So she's probably not getting the deeper restorative sleep. So she may be getting a long enough duration, but is it actually restorative during that time?
And
So
and she has a hard time waking up in the morning.
yeah. So usually sleep is
that's
what the recommendation is between 7 and 9 hours. So she's probably pushing 9 to 10 some days, maybe.
Some days,
I don't know.
Probably like on weekends, but she's still exhausted.
And then she's still exhausted when she wakes up. So maybe if she got better quality for 7 hours, she'd probably feel even better then.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna tell her.
Tell her it's from me, so that way you're not in trouble too. So that's fine. Yeah.
What is her like primary caffeine source? Like soda?
Yeah.
Generally? Okay.
Mhm.
Because I know I was just like looking up some stuff here too about like caffeine sources that are better or worse for sleep, and obviously like coffee and tea are like the top. And then
Worst or best?
the top for the best.
Best.
Yeah, because the absorption, I guess, is
Coffee, like as in black coffee, not a
Correct.
triple mocha latte from McDonald's.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
yeah.
Making sure.
So actually, I got it twisted here. Coffee can disrupt sleep if consumed within 6 to 8 hours of bedtime. So it says the
that's
sleep
just the same
impact
thing
is
as like the caffeine.
Yeah, it's
just
strong.
just taking in caffeine in the
Mhm.
short.
Caffeine.
Yeah.
So it looks like tea is like gonna be your winner, just
We can
because
get a lot of teas that's non-caffeinated, and there are more herbal supplements that you're probably going to get like a like a lavender or something like that is also studied to actually like help you get a deeper sleep too.
Yeah, like a lot of them promote, like a lot of teas can promote like relaxation and sleep too. And the caffeine content is just way, way lower than soda or coffee.
And part of the tea too is kind of where we went back is like your hot shower you take, it lowers your body temperature once you get out, which induces sleep. If you drink a hot tea, you're internally warming yourself up, then to cool back down to help kind of trigger yourself into a deeper sleep too. So those two kind of go hand in hand too.
Mm-hmm. And then the obvious one, the absolute worst for sleep is caffeine pills / pre-workout supplements / energy drinks
/ video games /
exactly. Yeah. You can drink
Goodness.
Partner those all together.
Yeah, for real. And obviously like caffeine content is going to be the highest in those things. And it contains things like beta alanine.
A
like
lot
that's
of other
the thing
stimulants, not just caffeine, right?
Exactly.
A lot of heavy B12. I mean, a lot of other stuff that they put in there that can be good for you, but in those levels probably aren't the best right before sleep.
Yeah. And a lot of times like the things like beta alanine, like I like beta alanine if I'm going to work out, but that's the thing when you take pre-workout and you feel like you're going to itch, like you're itching a lot, that's what that is. And that will carry over for hours for me sometimes too. So that like that alone, it just makes it like creates a lot more intense caffeine and like stimulation.
Yeah.
So that's obviously going to be the worst. So if you're going to do like energy drinks, like today I had an Alani, I had it at like 9:30 this morning. So if I'm going to have an energy drink, I try to do it earlier in the day, but doesn't always work out that way.
I've come a long way in 3 years.
I've come a long way, man.
Right now, he'd usually be on his third energy drink of the day.
I would for sure be on my second. What time is it? Yeah, 2:30. I'd be on my second energy drink for the day for sure. And then one of the other things too is alcohol. I think people sometimes get it twisted because alcohol, they're like, it winds me down, makes me feel, slows me down before I go to sleep. But there's so many factors when it comes to alcohol that takes away from your sleep quality. And I've experienced like the feeling of that too. Like when Emily and I if I would have like a glass of bourbon before I went to bed or something, I would be like, yeah, it winds me down, kind of helps me relax. But when you wake up, if you don't have some sort of hangover in the form of like a headache or just feeling groggy or nauseous, whatever it is, you just don't sleep as good.
Yeah.
And I think you can really tell the difference versus the times when you don't have any alcohol whenever you sleep or before you go to sleep. So that's just something to consider too. Obviously, if you enjoy alcohol in any capacity, like do it at your own discretion, but just know there's a lot of research that backs how alcohol disrupts your sleep, even though you might feel that you're more winded down before you go to bed when you have a beer or a glass of wine or a glass of bourbon. I think just like most things, just in little amounts and not every single night. Because then I imagine if you do that every single night for a period of time and then you don't do it, you might
feel bad because your body's adjusted to it.
Yeah, your body's adjusted to having those things.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think alcohol is pretty well researched on how it affects your sleep and other body systems too, honestly. So it's like you said, anything in moderation is okay.
Yeah.
But really trying to modify that, not trying to do it before sleep. And I know, just looking up different types of alcohol and how it affects your body, and it can probably show you pretty quick. It's probably not best if you're trying to recover really well and you're trying to train or you're trying to improve your health markers. It's probably one of the things that you can probably cut out because not only that, it probably has a lot of calories. And then that leads to other actions such as watching more TV where you're not getting deep quality sleep or binge eating like me. Like I would eat, I'm sure, if I had a couple drinks. So it can just lead to other things down the road that not necessarily just the couple drinks may do to you.
Yeah. Kevin, you want to speak to that?
I don't drink.
I know. Say Kevin. I know. Yeah. Kevin doesn't. Kevin can't speak to that. But I could remember a lot of times just being in college. You might go out and you have drinks. First thing you do when you get home, it's like, where's the closest pizza place? Like you just order food and you eat more, and then in turn you wake up feeling like crap. But I think that's just another small thing. And again, just like Wade said, like in moderation. But I think just some other small tips to kind of take away that can help improve sleep is like being outside more, being more active, things like that go a really long way. We kind of talked about that last week too. Just like those small things of like just getting up a little bit earlier. If you are improving your sleep, like getting up earlier and getting outside goes a long way. And like on top of your sleep, that's going to also just improve your day. So I think just like incorporating some of these small habits can really be helpful. Putting your phone down, turning the TV off in your bedroom, trying to lay down at a certain time. If you usually go to bed at midnight, try to lay down at 11. like, any earlier is obviously going to be better. And you don't have to change a million things at once. I think one thing goes a long way and can start to improve your sleep almost instantly.
So I think this is good too. We're speaking of all this for us as adults. We also have small kids at home.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to make sure we implement this with them too. Like
Yeah.
I've heard, so we went to Holiday World on Friday, which is an amusement park up in Indiana. And amusement park, what do you think? Stimulation everywhere. And you still see a bunch of kids running around with cell phones or iPads being stimulated on top of all the screaming, yelling, roller coasters on top of it. I even heard stories of other parents just like while we're waiting in lines. Yeah, I caught my kid waking up at 3 a.m. still on the iPad, and they were in there watching a movie. So just being able to protect your kids too, to make sure they're getting good quality sleep is huge, because when they're younger, their brain is developing very rapid, and it's these habits are being ingrained, and it's going to affect them overall. If they're not getting good quality sleep, think how it may show up as either hyperactivity disorder at school, or they're sleeping through school, or they're acting out because they're not getting good quality sleep.
Right.
So it can impact
not only
them
that,
a lot.
but also the physical side. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, their bodies are growing so fast too.
Yeah.
You have to have that restorative time too.
Yeah.
You're just awake all the time.
Yeah.
I used to coach high school baseball. I used to work in the school system, and so many of my students, I mean, they were chronically sleep deprived. I'd say this is the majority of students. But most kids were going to bed 3, 4 a.m., sleeping 1 or 2 hours, and a lot of them were getting up early and getting on the bus at 6. So it was very common for most of those kids to, have 2 to 3 hours of sleep. They come to school, they're exhausted. They don't eat lunch because they didn't like lunch. They wouldn't even eat during the day, and their breakfast was typically either, some of them didn't even eat breakfast or lunch. They would just eat after, and they would stay up and eat late at night at home. Yeah. And they're just drained, and then I'm bringing them to a weight room to try to do conditioning. I used to do conditioning at a high school, and those kids had nothing left. They're exhausted, So yeah, even the physical toll that it can have, and that's pretty much the norm that I saw. I coached in 2 different school systems, worked in 3 different school systems doing strength conditioning, and that was pretty much just kind of a consistent thing across the board.
And how long ago has that been?
That was 10
years ago.
Yeah, 2012 to 2019.
So it's even probably gotten worse.
Probably worse now
since then.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. I mean, every kid probably has a smart device now, where they can have it anytime they want. So I would just think trying to not just think speaking to our clients, but also how can we improve these habits for our kids? Because hopefully we're impacting the next generation, because they'll be here way more than we are. So just trying to build healthy habits for them will go a long way, and hopefully help, like Kevin said, physically and mentally, just help them perform much better in life.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. Well, thank you all for listening today. Hopefully next time we can keep it together. You too, man. These spam accounts get in here and drop in some comments that can't keep our heads on straight. So thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next week.